And good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Again, apology on the recording for starting at 2 instead of 12. I do not want to lose the momentum and I do not want to cancel today's lecture, so here goes. Anybody would like to unmute and say hi, hello, how are you? I've already heard from Marianne. She's fine. It's lovely and sunny in her side of the world. I heard from Abdul. Anybody would like to share their experiences of the last week? Anything exciting happened in their life? Anyone got married, had a baby? You went overseas? No. Okay, great. You're already started.
You can tell us how the 21st birthday went. Your daughter's 21st.
Okay. It was lovely. Thank you for asking. Yes. In fact, I'm using her room. She's disappeared from here because it's a little noisy in our room. And yeah, it was lovely. Thank you for asking. Right. I managed to go and pick the cake up in time. Great. Okay, that I should have started recorded, but anyway, let's go on. So this week, I'm not sure if you all had a chance to have a look at my quizzes on My UNISA. Let me go and log into My UNISA. And let's see, My UNISA. Let's go and quickly look at My UNISA. And I shared a lovely post from learn.microsoft.com. Right, so I'm going to log in. And this is for the benefit of the students that are not part of our group. Right, so if you're not in group 1E, you won't be able to have access to the quiz, but I will share that with you a little later on. All right, so I'd like it, if possible, if you could do the quiz on reference parameters. This was a question from January of 2022, and it's right. Oh, I only got 51 attempts. Oh no, I'd like it if you could try that, please. I'll help you along. Just to preview the quiz, here's the quiz, and it says, what is the output of the following code? And it has a function in there, void function, calculate VAT, float, price P is a reference parameter, VAT P is a reference parameter. In line number 6, I have a computation that's taking place, where price P is multiplied by 0.15, and I'm calling the function in line 11. Anybody wants to talk to me? Don't give the answer out. Anybody wants to talk to me how and what is it that I'm testing you on in this question, or the examiner for that matter? Abdul? Hello, Abdul.
I would say, yes, sir. I would say what is being tested here is to see if we know how to directly substitute our parameters to find our answer. So they're testing us on if we know how our parameters work.
Yes. So they are testing you on parameters. And let's try and be more specific, Abdul. What kind of parameters that you think that they want to test you on?
So in this case, I would say it's a float, sir.
Yes, float, correct. Is it a value parameter or a reference parameter that they're talking about, Abdul?
It's value and reference, if I may say so.
Oh, all right. Anybody else would like to add to Abdul's analysis of the question, if I may say? Marianne?
Yeah, sorry, just give me a sec here. I'm just reading what it says on here. Because, okay, so it's void calc VAT.
What do you think?
Okay. I would actually say it's reference parameters very much more than it is value parameters, because it strikes me that both of the arguments are value parameters.
Both of them are reference.
By the ampersand. Yeah. Excuse me, that thing. Yes. The reference parameters, because they are denoted by the ampersand.
Yes. Great. See, Abdul, can you see? You are right, Abdul. You did say parameters, but Marianne's adding to that by saying that they are reference parameters. So they want to test you on what is being passed from line 4 back to line 11 and what's going to be the output in line number 12, right? So I have another question where I actually excluded the reference parameter, and you'll also see what the output is in line number 12. So I'd like it if you could try that out, please, right? For then I also had in... Yes, Abdul, go ahead.
So what's the function of the n% in this particular instance?
Very good question. I'd like you to try it out, Abdul. So if you could see, if you look at the next question, question number 2, I actually left out the ampersand. If I look at the next page, so that ampersand has a particular value, not a value, I wouldn't say the word value, let's say it has a particular meaning to this program, right? It's a reference parameter. So if you look at the next one, I changed the value of price, and let's look at the next attempt. So I'm actually consolidating your understanding of that ampersand. So I'd like you to try it, Abdul, please, and see.
Is it safe to say it's also related to pointers in a way, sir?
Let's not confuse everybody, right, in the recording as well. Let's not talk about pointers for now, right, Abdul, if you don't mind.
Okay.
But just take note that what happens with that ampersand in front of it and what happens without the ampersand. So I want you, Abdul, to try it out, write a program, or use the same one that I have, put the ampersand sign in next to the parameter, remove the ampersand, and run it in both cases, okay? Great, great. All right, so let's say goodbye to that, and let's go to our code blocks, right? Let's go to our code blocks. Right, so now let's put that video off to save some bandwidth. And we are looking at what happens in the next question, the assignment, and what were they trying to test you on out here. Well, if I look at this question, it says in this program, you have to make use of the switch statement. So they are being very specific, right, Abdul? They want you to use the switch statement. You could have done this with the if else statement, but that will be so long to work on it, right? And they said, write a program, and there they said, if it's 25 watts, then the life expectancy of the bulb is 25,000 hours. If it's 40 watts, the life expectancy is 1,000 watts. If it's 60 watts, the life expectancy is about 1,000 as well. If it's 75 watts, then it's 750. And if it's a high wattage, it's 100, it's 750. It says, write a program when given a bulb's wattage, how does it display the life expectancy? Now, let's look at where this came from, right? In order to answer this question, you needed to have answered the exercises from the, let's open up our study guide. So this week, one of the students contacted me and said, where do I start? I don't know what it is. I'm getting also stressed out about my, well, basically COS 1511, and they were unsure of what and how to do it. Now, they said that they had a problem with lesson number 18 and lesson number 19. If you are in the Zoom call, I'm not going to mention names, right? But if you look at lesson number 18 and lesson number 19, they talked about writing functions and local and global variables. Now, if you don't understand lesson 17, 16, 15, 14, you're not going to get to grasp what's going on in lesson 18. That's programming for you. So if they are testing you on the switch statement, which is on page 147, you should have made sure that you understand what happens in lesson 12, lesson 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you can't just say, listen, because I have the switch statement being tested in assignment 2, question 2C, that I need to only learn what's going on in the switch statement. Abdul, what do you think about that, Abdul, in terms of programming? You think I could have just jumped into lesson on switch statement, lesson 13, and tried to answer this question, Abdul?
I think you can't skip. Like it's every part of it is more like a foundation for the next topic or the next chapter. So definitely you'll have to do the previous one for you to understand what's going on.
Yes, absolutely, Abdul. So that goes with all programming exercises. You must make sure that you know what happens before that lesson. So in this question, Abdul, they were talking about the switch statement. Let's go back to that question, right? So they said, use the switch statement, right? They said, use the switch statement. So before you go and answer this question, you should have been able to, at least revise what the switch statement is all about in lesson number 13. So let's look at lesson number 13, and it says the switch statement. So it's on page 147. Control G takes me to page 147. Edit view. Let's go to somewhere along here. Let's go to page navigation, right? Go to page, let's just go to page 150, right? Okay, so it says, right. So if a couple of weeks ago, someone asked me, when do I use the switch statement and when do I use the if statement? In my opinion, a switch statement is basically a number of if statements that are, looks pretty the way it's represented, right? So here's a switch statement on days of the week, right? And it says, if I had to enter in day 1, then I'm going to display Sunday. If I'm going to enter in day 2, it's going to enter in Monday. So just like the way I spoke, Abdul, if I said, if day is equal to 1, then see out Sunday. Abdul, you'd give me the if statement for the next case?
Pardon, sir?
If this had to be written as an if statement, Abdul, for case number 2, how would you have represented it?
Else if.
Okay.
I would use an else if.
And then? Else
and
if?
Then I would put else if you type in or whatever code that will be related to that second case of that else if that you would like to run, or whatever code will fall under that. And if you still have more, you continue with your else ifs until the last else statement.
So you're going to have about at least 6 or 7 else ifs, right? Because there's 7 days in the week, right, Abdul?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's quite a number of else if, right? So this is where they came up with the switch statement. So they said, if I have switch, and I'm going to be able to answer it like that. So let's look at example 2. In this example 2, instead of you writing, Abdul, if case equals 2, see out weekday. If case equals 3, see out weekday. If case equals 4, see out weekday. Marianne, tell me when you get the picture, if I must continue. If case equals 4, see out weekday. If case equals 5, see out weekday.
Dr. G, I think we've got it.
Okay, good. So
I actually think you've done this one with us before, because I seem to think that Abdul actually asked the time, but why is Sunday number 1? Wouldn't it have made more sense to make Monday number 1? I think
this is lovely.
I think when you were actually teaching us about the switch statement, we actually did use this example.
Yes. Lovely. We spoke about that. I'm sorry if I'm boring you. I know I repeated, but practice makes perfect, Miriam. And also, it applies to this question in this assignment, right? So, yes, you are absolutely right. Now that you mentioned it, I think I remember Abdul's question. Abdul, is Marianne right? Is that what you asked, Abdul?
Yes, sir. She's correct.
Right. Marianne's on the ball. Right. Great. So let's jump straight into the assignment question now. So that's what's going to happen out here. Now, this is another way of learning programming, is if you have a template, right? So if you had a template where you had the days of the week, like Marianne correctly pointed out, I said, if case equals 1, they see out Sunday. So you learn programming in terms of a strategy. I'm going to have this program, and I'm going to use that program as a template. So let's open up a new project. Open up a new project, and in honor of Abdul, let's call it, I don't think there's anybody else out here who wants like it, or never mind, I already did Abdul, right? Abdul, right? So Abdul, in honor of you, I've named it such, right? So now, Abdul, I don't know how to start this program, right? This is a common question I get with my students. Where do I start? How do I start this program? How do I write this program, right? So you take a program that you know is working, right? Let's take one from the study guide. So we know that this program is working, right, Marianne? It's working. We know it's working, where they talk about switch day and things, right? Marianne, are you cool with that I'm repeating the lesson, Marianne?
Yeah, no, go for it.
Thank you. Right? All right, so there we go. I'm going to type as fast as I can so that I don't waste any time. And so this is another way of answering an assignment question or a programming example. And trust me, I know about programming because I've been studying this all my adult life, okay, and my teenage life. Okay, and I got some qualifications behind me to talk about programming, right? So let's see if this program works. So let's just compile this program. Abdul, what do you say, Abdul?
Declare. So you need to declare your day as an integer variable.
Ah, okay, you're killing me. Yeah, Abdul. Let's go and pretend like you didn't say that. Let's go and compile it, and then we'll see where the error is, right, Abdul? All right. I was reading a journal article, and one of the researchers said sometimes it's nice to deliberately put some errors in there so the students get to see the answer, right? Okay, Abdul.
Okay,
Abdul, let's just compile it. Let's just pretend like Abdul can't see this thing working. Build it. Oh no, Abdul, we made an error. Abdul, let's go to logs. Let's go and see the logs there. Let's go and see the logs, right? So just like the journal article. By the way, it's nice if you read some journal articles, right? Then you're starting on your journey of research. So let's go and see. Oh, day was not declared. Abdul, help me, Abdul. How do I declare day to be?
So you can say int day.
Right, int day. Why are you choosing int, Abdul?
Because with the switch statement, whatever variable is in that brackets needs to be an integer, and our cases are numbered according to values.
Correct.
So in this case, you give an integer.
All right. So let's say, for instance, we weren't talking about programming. Why would I have made day an integer, Abdul?
Because there's no 1.5 day if we are to count it.
Lovely. That's what I was looking at. Right? Sometimes we don't have to look for a complicated example. We can take a simple reasoning as to why it has to be integer. Okay. And let's go on now, right? So let's compile this program again. And it says function not valid. Something out there, Abdul. It says
It's
day
not
is
initiated, but it's okay. It's uninitiated.
Okay. So I haven't initialized day. So it'll be a good idea to initialize day. In terms of initializing, I need to set a value for day, right? So let's go do that. So I need to call in day, right? C in day, right? C in day. And whenever there's a C in, it's always nice to be polite and say, please enter in a value for day, right? So now let's compile it, Abdul. Right, I'm compiling the program. Hey, I'm happy, Abdul, it's working, right? So let's build and run. And it says, please enter in a value for day. So Abdul, give me a value, Abdul, please.
Oh, so you're not going to ask me between what numbers? Okay, great.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, okay. Abdul, Marianne, and everybody else on the call. I want you all to give me a number between 3 and 5. Let's see if we are all thinking about the same number. Abdul. 4. Let me see. Marianne, what number were you thinking of?
4.5. You didn't say integer.
Oh, gosh, why? Oh, my word.
Wait now.
Abdul.
Yeah.
Abdul. Okay. Right. Okay, we get the picture. Right, let's go. Right. 4. Right, so 4. Hey, Wednesday. So I'm so happy it worked, right? So happy it worked. This program works. Now I have a program that works, and I'm going to look at my assignment question. Right, so I'm going to go straight to my assignment question because Marianne is going to say, oh, but sir, you've done this program before. Why are you wasting my time? Am I right, Marianne?
No, we always learn something new.
Oh, okay, great. That's lovely. You always learn something new. So here we go. It says, if the person entered in 25, that means it must display 25,000 as a life expectancy hours. So now I know from my program that if I enter in, how many hours that the 20, let's look at the question again. How do I get it so quickly? It says 25 watts. So let's keep this question on the left-hand side. I'm splitting my screen. It says, if they entered in 25, I must display that, let's split my screen. So I see the question as well. And it says that the life expectancy is 25,000 hours. So instead of typing in Sunday, I must type in life expectancy is 25,000 hours, right? So all I've done is I've taken a program that works from the lesson 13 in the study guide. I've read a little bit about the assignment question. right? Only one line of the assignment question. And we run the program, and with 4 as a value, and there we go. We're so happy that we've got some statements, and we says, listen, we've only made a few changes. Let's see if it runs. So I'm going to compile the program. Hey, I'm happy it's compiling. Abdul, let's run this program. Let's run the program, build and run. Now, oh, I shouldn't have said enter in a value for the day. Let's go and enter.
Yes, you change day to wattage or something.
Right,
wattage.
Please enter value for wattage, right? For wattage, right? Wattage. So let's do this now. Abdul, now that you've spent a couple of months with me on, what do you think I'll be expecting you to ask for a value, Abdul, to test this
25.
program? Abdul?
I will ask for 25 as a value.
Oh, good, because that's become my test data. So Abdul, you can see I've written a program, I made a change, I've put in the case of 25. And just out of interest, there are other people on the call as well. Would anybody else thought of the number 25? Anybody else unmute and say, yes, sir, I thought of 25 because I have coaxed you and pushed you in that direction. Nobody. Come on. Marianne, did you think
something else? Actually, I was about to ask you this, sir.
Yes.
Isn't it actually in your prompt statement apt to, just include a bracket that says, choose out of 25, 50, 75, that kind of thing? Because I mean,
you could do that.
Yeah. Like, technically speaking, I mean, you can enter anything in there. You could enter 73, but
Correct.
I mean, 73 watts is not really a light bulb size.
Correct. No, you're absolutely right. But like I said, Marianne, we're looking at a strategy of answering this assignment question 2C. And one of the strategies that I'm coming out right now is you need to take a program that works and you modify that so that you have an understanding of the question, right? Okay. Right. So for now, like Abdul has pointed out, it's 25. So I'm going to press enter right now, and hopefully it's going to give me the correct hours in terms of life expectancy. Life expectancy is 25,000 hours. Is that correct, Abdul?
Correct, sir.
All right, let's look at the assignment question, right? So I'm quite happy to note that, listen, I've answered the question according to what I have. Then it's got, if they entered in 40, right? If they entered in 40, so they tell me that there's, now they tell me that, hey, the life listed above. So if I had to put in 40, that means the life expectancy is only 1,000 hours. So now, Abdul, it doesn't become too difficult now, right, Abdul? Abdul?
Correct, sir.
Right. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to change 2 and I'm going to change it to 40. Let's see if somebody else can answer these questions. Or what am I going to put in here? What am I going to put in there? What am I going to put in there? Anybody else? Let's see who's on the call. Let's say hello. How are you? Who's here? Come on. Let's have somebody else talking now. Otherwise, they're going to say I'm only calling upon Abdul and Marianne. Is there anybody else there? Elizabeth, iPad 9, Millard, Nsomi, Simon, Sepo, Sibonello. Come on, anybody want to say hi?
Hi, everyone.
Hello, who's that?
That was Elizabeth.
Hello, Elizabeth. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm well, thanks.
Great. So, Elizabeth, I'd like to know if they entered in 40 as a wattage for the program. What must I type on line number 13, Elizabeth?
Wait, let me have a look again.
Okay, let me, see, I caught you out, Elizabeth. Are you paying attention to me, or are you on your WhatsApp status, or are you changing, or your Facebook?
No, I am paying attention.